Shalom, shalom. I'm the brother Shaquata Moth coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakah, Kodash. I want to give double honors to my apostles and elders, a great millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect, pushing this word in truth and all sincerity. All right. In this lesson, I'm going to go into the prophecy of Gog and Magog in Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39, and Lord willing to be edifying, okay? This is Ezekiel chapter 38 and verse 1. It says, "And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief priest of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him." Now, Gog and Magog, if you look on the ancient map uh, of these lands, this territory, this is exactly where Russia sits. Okay, where it says Magog, that's exactly where Russia sits. All right, and that's exactly the territory of where you currently see Russia. When you come back to the scripture, it says, verse 2, "Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him." When you go back on here, it says the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Meshach and Tubal are sitting exactly where Turkey sits. All right. Now it says that Magog will be the chief prince because that they give tributary, or they are subsidiary nations to Magog. Okay, so it's looking at them as giving a respect, okay, or reverence to Magog or Russia today. Okay. Now it says, "Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal." And of course, the Lord Yahweh Shem Shah, okay, he is against uh, these Edomites, all right? Edomite being the so-called white man, alluding to Job chapter 9, verse 24. He having the whole world in his hands, the wicked. All right, and you go to Malachi chapter 1, verse 4. The Lord is against these Edomites, and these Russians are just another sector of Esau Edom. Okay, so let me just put this. Okay, the Lord is against these Edomites, and he's against Russia. All right. Now, when we go back to the scriptures, Ezekiel chapter 38 and verse 4, it says, "And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor." All right, and it's saying he's going to put hooks into thy jaws, okay, Gog and Magog, or modern day Russia, because Russia used to be, or is, one of the top military powers of the world. All right. And when he says he's going to put hooks in their jaws, he's going to put them in that old USSR Soviet Union spirit. Okay. When they were out and they had control over these different lands, which in all reality, they still do. Okay. The scriptures call them the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal because, like I was saying earlier, Russia is still a modern day great power over these other subsidiary nations under them. And right now, what you have is Ukraine trying to basically opt out of that power, okay, and come out of that willingness to uh, bow down to Russia and become their own nation, which they're already their own nation, but they have certain agreements that Russia and them have already agreed to, and America is putting them into a spirit of rebellion when it comes to those agreements that they have with Russia. Okay, they're not supposed to be forming any alliances like they have with America. All right, they're not supposed to be pushing their military force to the borders to gain some type of control, okay, near where Russia is. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, but America is backing them right now, and that's what has them into an all-out chaos or all-out disagreement right now. All right. So when it says, verse 4, "I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horsemen, horses, and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor." That's talking about the military weaponry. Okay. He's not only going to turn them back into that old spirit of the Soviet Union and being a world military power, he's also going to rise them up with the military power to do it. And we all know that these other nations have these nuclear capabilities, okay, fighter jets, what you call amphibious weapons like uh, warcraft ships, okay, uh, water warcraft, all right, missile defense artillery to be able to shoot missiles out the sky. All right, these Black Hawk helicopters, all types of just equipment. It says all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields. All of them handling swords, and that's what you're gonna see, in the next coming days. All right, and I don't mean to say like days as it's gonna be really really soon, but hey, that's what you see coming into a world near you, man. World War III. All right. Now, back to the scriptures, it says Ezekiel chapter 38 and verse 5, it says, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. And when you type in Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya, this is what comes up because these nations are not confederate with America. Persia being the modern day Iran, okay, if you look over here on the map, Persia to the right, that's the modern day Iran right now, okay? Libya is also, what Libya is today, and Ethiopia. All right, these three nations are not in league with America. All right, and it's saying back in the scriptures, it says Gomer and all of his bands, verse 6. Gomer and all of his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. So the scriptures are explaining the modern day roster, if you will. All right, these nations will be with Russia when it comes to this prophecy of war that we're talking about right now. And I'm going to show you. It says, verse 7: Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So it's saying that Russia will be a guard to Persia, Libya, okay, Gomer, all right, and all of these. When you look at the modern day map, these are countries that we have a type of knowledge about. Okay, with Persia being Iran, we know Iran is nowhere in compatibility when it comes to agreements with America. All right, we were calling them terrorists for years. Okay, we put the whole blame of a lot of terrorist attacks on Iran. All right, and Iran has now gained its independency, and now is cooperating with Russia along with Libya. Okay, Libya, we tried to, or no, we actually put in a coup to get the leader Gaddafi in Libya killed because he wanted to basically shift away from the dollar, okay, and make his own currency. All right, that really you can put the blame of that on the American way of life that we brung over there, and basically uh, modernize or influence the people over there to kill their own leader. But not to get in, not to get off topic. I'm just making understanding of why these nations would definitely not be in cooperation with America. They are going with Russia, as the scripture is saying in verse 7. It says, Be thou a guard unto them. All right, so when I go to this article I brought up, all I did was type in Libya, Ethiopia, and Persia. And this is what it brought up. This is the trumpet, okay? It says Libya and Ethiopia reveal Iran's military strategy. It says, What is the immediate future of Libya and Ethiopia? We must go to the Bible for the answer. You will find it no place else. And hey, I just got a few words out of it. It's not bringing any scripture. It's just telling you what's going on. It says, just look at what has happened in the first couple of months of this year. It says the Tunisian government has fallen, probably into the hands of the radical Muslims. Lebanon has fallen to the Hezbollah terrorists controlled by Iran, the number one terrorist sponsoring nation in the world by far. The government of Egypt has fallen, and its replacement will form some kind of an alliance with Iran, the king of the south. We have been prophesying this for about 20 years. Now the whole world can see it happening very dramatically. As usual, many of the Western world's leaders see what is happening in Egypt as good news. They fail to see the strength of Iran and the Muslim Brotherhood, and some of them fail to see the broken will of America, which all the Middle Eastern leaders, which all the Middle East leaders see. So they're saying that with all these uh, broken agreements, they're uh, 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 some of them fail to see the broken will of America, which all the Middle East leaders see. So America has the will of America to jump in and be that all controlling force. It's been broken because some of these alliances have been taking place. Okay, with Iran, Egypt, all right, Ethiopia. Okay, that says the government of Yemen is very shaky. All these events are bad news for America and Israel. And that's why I want to jump on that, because when you look at what has happened, that's giving these other nations, these other areas, a influence over in their countries, and they're going to band together and be what it says in verse 7: and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be a guard unto thee. So Russia, being that big, that big chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, okay, they're going to band together. And then let's go to Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 1. It says, therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against Gog, and say, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and leave but the sixth part of thee, and will cause thee to come up from the north parts, and bring thee upon the mountains of Israel. Okay, so these nations are about to band together and go against the mountains of Israel. Okay, that modern day fake, uh, if you will, structure of what they call to be Israel right now, because we know that they're not the people of the Lord. All right, it says, and I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and will cause thine arrows to fall out of thy right hand. And what is that talking about? That's talking about the nuclear capability that these nations have gained over time. All right. It says, I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and will cause thine arrows to fall out of thy right hand. Thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel, thou and all thy bands, and the people that is with thee. Who are the people that are with Russia, that are going to be with Russia? Persia, Libya, Ethiopia, these other subsidiary nations over there. Okay, they're going to be with them, and they're going to do what? It says, verse 4 again, thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel, thou and all thy bands, and the people that is with thee. I will give thee unto the ravenous birds of every sort, and to the beasts of the field to be devoured. So, that's I'm gonna read verse 6, because it has a little bit more. It says, thou shalt fall upon the open field, for I have spoken it, saith the Lord power. And I will send a fire on Magog, and among them that dwell carelessly in the isles, and they shall know that I am the Lord. So this is going to be an all-out war, man. Russia is trying to compel, Ukraine to stop with the, you know, fight for independence, the fight to gain, some type of authority, in that area. And America is slowly but surely egging them on, okay? And that's going to be, the cusp, or the beginning of what we prophesy to be World War III. All right. So let me see here. I had a map that just to show you, how the USR used to be. If you look to the left, that's Ukrainian SSR right there. All right, that's the Russian uh that's the Russian land, that big purple land in the middle, USSR. And basically, the USSR, it stands for the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. All right, and this was from 19, see the life of it. was from 1922 to 1991. It says the Soviet Union, is officially the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, was a socialist state that spanned Eurasia during its existence from 1922 to 1991. And when I read up on it, it said that Ukraine basically left out of that whole agreement and got their independence, but it was under like some special agreements that they had with Russia. But you can do your own research with that. Um, I had a video that shows this little impending war right here. I'm gonna play that and then we'll go ahead and get out of here.
As fears continue to grow that Russia will declare war on its neighboring country, Ukraine, and invade, the Russian military is conducting live fire exercises. With some 190,000 Russian troops lined up along the Ukrainian-Russian border, according to U.S. officials, the stakes are getting higher. European world leaders are now accusing Russia of preparing for a military conflict bigger than anything since World War II.
Not only Russia amassed all these troops around the border, but they also, through their illegal armed formations in uncontrolled Donetsk and Lugansk, started series of provocations. They started shelling our civilian objects.
That shelling is happening in eastern Ukraine, where U.S. officials say Russian-backed separatists are firing artillery explosives at Ukrainian military posts. 2 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed and 11 others wounded so far. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris is in Europe meeting with world leaders currently, including the Ukrainian president. The main topic of conversation: how to convince Russian President Vladimir Putin to step back from the brink of war. U.S. and world leaders say crippling economic sanctions on Russia are ready to go.
If Russia further invades Ukraine, the United States, together with our allies and partners, will impose significant and unprecedented economic costs.
Experts say any invasion of Ukraine would likely happen in the next week or two while the ground there is still frozen and solid enough for heavy tanks and vehicles to travel on. Warmer temperatures could lead to those vehicles getting stuck in mud.
Everything we're seeing tells us that the decision we believe President Putin has made to invade is moving forward.
Russian leaders continue to deny that, saying they are not planning to invade unless they're forced into military action. U.S., European, and Ukrainian officials are all hopeful there's still time for diplomacy.
But with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kakodash. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone, as always, who rule the world. Peace and salutations to the hopefully elect pushing this word in truth and sincerity. All right, Shalom.